Hey, what's up? This is Todd Smith and I'm back with another video. In this video, I want to drop my 1-year review of the Roland MC-707. I've had this groove box for over a year now. I've used it in countless videos, countless jams. It's the heart of my upcoming album. And after 1 year of use, I figured it's a good time to just drop my overall opinion and how it's been using it for a year. When it comes to the build of the machine, I feel it's built very well. Some people say it's kind of, shady, a little cheap feeling. I feel the whole entire machine feels great. The cheapest part is by far the knobs. They got a little wiggle to them compared to the rest of the machine. The sliders, I was super impressed out the gate. Perfect amount of tension to them when you're playing with them, when you're manipulating the volumes. When it comes down to the screen, the pads, the inputs, the machine itself, the case, I feel that's all 100% solid. The only other thing I can really think of besides maybe the knobs being a little shady in terms of build, and again, I feel they're built great, but I'm just saying it's the weakest part of the machine because they wiggle a little bit in my opinion, is the fact that the drum pads can't really keep up with super fast finger drumming because it's not really built to be an MPC style machine. So if you're a fast finger drummer, you might be a little disappointed on how fast the pads can kind of keep up. But in terms of feel and the quality of the pads, they feel great. I really love all the outputs and inputs in terms of MIDI for this machine. You got 2 outs, 1 in, and the USB gives you another option of MIDI in and out. So you have multiple ways of bringing MIDI in and out of this machine, which I really like. So overall on the build, I feel they did a really good job. I do like how they went with more front-end interface in terms of sliders, knobs, assignable controls, rather than a big screen that turns it into almost a DAW, kind of like the MPC route. You got to deal with a smaller screen and a more kind of groove box synthesizer setup, but you have some more front-end control. When it comes down to building tracks, editing tracks, kind of copying, pasting, editing your notes, deleting notes, copying notes, you got to get used to multi-button pressing, function buttons, things of that nature. But once you get it down, it becomes pretty fast and pretty furious. The way the scenes are laid out all feel very natural. You can keep it pretty simple or get more complex and have various types of scene modes. If you want to have tons of scene options with variant sound options, you can get really deep. If you're a little bit more simplistic and you just need one scene to be one thing, you can keep it in that mode. I think that was a really good choice to have that level of depth. Some people might need it to do more simplistic things, while some people might need to dive deeper and do some more complex options. But having that mode allows the people who don't need all those options to drop into the easier mode and not even have to deal with it. And I think that's, again, a really awesome choice. Now we jump into the digital sound engine, which is the Zencore system. I have the Juno X and the 707, and I can say I really do love the Zencore engine. It can recreate all the classic eras of the Roland synth engines. Now when it comes to the 707 and the sounds you're going to get with the presets of this machine, I would say they're pretty simplistic in terms of the Zencore engine. There's a lot of bread and butter. Now the sound engine is super deep, a lot deeper than the sounds they give you within this machine. And you do have the ability to manipulate, I think, the entire engine on 707 just within the internal menu. And this starts to tread on the major thing that turns a lot of people away from the 707, which is the Zencore software licensing subscription model. This engine is super deep, and some people might want a software editor to kind of manipulate this and get deeper into the engine rather than using the menu. But if you want to dive deeper into this machine via software, you do need to go to the cloud, which is subscription based, which again is probably the biggest Achilles heel of this device in terms of consumer in the market and being accepted. Me myself, I've had it over a year. Everything you've ever heard from me within this machine has been presets with just minor manipulation. But the positive side of the cloud is it seems fairly easy to use. I've only jumped into it, manipulated some sounds via the editor, checked out the sound pack section, checked out the various sound engines and things like that. So on the other end, if you're a person who kind of welcomes the idea of blending software with hardware and you don't mind that subscription-based model that kind of connects it all together, the technology could be very interesting. But moving past the sound engine and the subscription-based model, I truly believe that 707 is the modern generation, the next step for the Roland Groovebox. They definitely made a perfect choice with the sound engine, with the design, with build perfect evolution of the old MC Grooveboxes of the classic 90s era. So that is my 1 year opinion on the 707, and that's how it played out, and you will continue to see me using this machine for a very long time. As always, stay positive, stay creative, support each other, and peace.